The Richmond Register Sports Show is brought to you by MetroNet, superfast internet, simply a better connection. Central Kentucky Pressure Washing. Total Comfort, heating and air conditioning. Let Total Comfort keep you cool or warm this winter. Call for service or for a free replacement quote. And by Mel's Barbershop, established 2019. Walk-ins welcome. Visit them 102 St. George Street in Richmond. And by kymedia.net, digital media solutions on your terms.
We are here at Madison Central High School with the 2021 KHSAA Class 3A state champion in the pole vault, Mr. Wyatt Stewart. Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you.
Appreciate you being here, and we're going to give you kind of a little pole vault 101 today, and kind of Wyatt's going to walk us through a lot of the different aspects of this this event, and it's a lot more complicated than people would expect, I think.
Yeah, a little bit. It's not too bad. I mean, you get through it.
Yeah. Well, when did you start? Because you've had a great amount of success. You're the state record holder now, the highest jump ever in the state of Kentucky. But it's like, when did you kind of get going in all this?
I started late October in my 6th grade year, so 5 years I'm going on now. And just started jumping since then. Now jumping 17 and a half feet.
Yeah. So kind of what kind of sparked your interest in this event?
They tried to get my brother to do it, but he wanted to stay with cross country, and I wanted to do something else that he wasn't doing. So Monty was the cross country coach, and now we're pole vaulting.
Yeah, Monty Orchard, who's the kind of the pole vault guru around Central Kentucky, and he kind of knows all things pole vault, and he's really kind of coached a lot of the best athletes to come out of this area.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, he has the cross country team a little bit and pole vault, so we got a lot of high jumpers now.
Okay. All right, well, you were just at a national event last weekend. Kind of tell us a little bit about that.
Oh, that was fun.
I know you didn't do as well as you wanted to, but you still finished sixth or seventh nationally?
I tied for 6th with an open height of 16.3, so 5.95 or 4.95, and got that on second attempt. Tied for 6th. Not the best, but can't really complain with 6th place.
Yeah, and you guys have, like your dad was just telling me earlier, you guys have been everywhere, thousands and thousands of miles over the past couple of years, even during the pandemic. And you guys were going to go to an event this weekend, but you guys decided not to, just to get some extra rest. But you guys have definitely racked up the frequent flyer miles.
Yeah, no, we've traveled so much, and you just need a break after a bit. But I've traveled a lot. We've been all around. We went to Reno not too long ago at the beginning of the year. We went to Texas. Now we're in New York. We're going every corner of the United States. So.
Okay. All right, we're going to kind of break this down for you a little bit, kind of piece by piece here. And actually, I'm really interested to learn a lot of things about this sport as well. So let's start with the poles. We'll walk over here and talk about the poles. There are all kinds of different lengths and weights and everything. So we'll and you'll use multiple during a meet, right?
Yeah, I have. In my bag, I have about 8 or 9 poles, and they're all the same brand. None of these are the poles I jump on. I jump on composite poles, which are made of carbon fiber and fiberglass. These, from all I know, are fiberglass, and that's most common.
Okay. And interestingly enough, your dad told me you guys rent these. I mean, your competition ones are actually, you guys rent those.
Yeah, we rent them from a guy, Jim Hill, out in Missouri. And so he's been giving us poles for a year or two. And so that's why I use in competition. I use from 15.5 foot to 16 foot poles, 180 pounds to 190 pounds. So that's why I'm using in competition.
And that's not the weight of the actual pole. They don't weigh 189.
No, that's how much it can. That's how much weight it can hold. How much pressure it can hold.
Yeah.
So this pole right here, this is a 15'3", so it's 15 feet 3 inches. It's a fiberglass pole. It can withstand 185 pounds of pressure, and it has a flex number of 18.4. That's the technical part. But if you're not wanting to get into technical parts, then you just look at the weight of it. So these poles are just really good. I really like, everyone usually likes these fiberglass poles. There's certain people that like using carbon poles. That's why I'm using, but these are also really good. And there's many different pole brands, many different variants of poles. They usually go from about 10 feet to 17.5 feet. in length.
Yeah. And then the weight in them is differently dispersed?
Yeah, weight usually goes from about 70 pounds to about 220 maybe.
Okay.
So it can withstand up to that amount. Olympians are on 17 foot, 200, 190, 200 pound poles.
Okay. And you'll kind of base what length and what weight you do on the kind of where you're at and the what height you're going to and the standards and all that stuff?
Yeah, you start off on performance. So a lot of vaulters start off on about like 9, 10 foot poles using about like 110 pounds. And then slowly you work up. Like I started off on that and I'm only on 16 foot poles or 185 pounds, which is a lot, but it can still go higher.
Yeah, and you keep going higher and higher. So let's take one of these poles and come out here and kind of talk about grip and where you.
So this is the pole I would be using normally for practice. That's as I said, a 15.3, 185, and we have these marks on the ground. You can't really see them, but we have this tape measure laid out. This is where you'd start on the runway. So you have different amount of steps that you take. I in competition would take about 16 steps. So I'm all the way back there at about 115 feet. And we take that run to make our energy to put into the pole. So I only weigh 160 pounds, but I put about 185 pounds of pressure into the pole. And so you use that run to gain the extra weight that you need and extra energy.
But it's not a dead sprint though, right? You want to have it controlled.
Yeah, you're wanting to start off a bit slower and build up into it, because if you start off sprinting, you're going to lose energy at the end. So you're wanting to start off slower and build up into it.
Okay. And now show us the grip there and show us how it, obviously you start up and then you drop it down.
So most people have a different grip. Some people, like Drew over there was gripping this low. We tried to get him to spread that out. I grip about this far on the pole, and that's just what's comfortable to me. It's just picking up the pole. It just feels natural. So it's really just what feels best for you. So I pick up the pole. You usually have this hand underneath of you, almost like this.
You're right-handed.
Yeah, right-handed. Left-handed would be the opposite side. Trying to work on that. But we start with your bottom hand facing out, and your top hand barely holding it, facing away from you. And your elbow's kind of, it's not really tucked in, but it's like a nice neutral position. And all you do is you carry the pole and just drop it straight up like that.
Okay. You have to kind of time out when you start to drop that pole. So kind of in your mind and in obviously the tape measure here kind of gives you the measurements, right?
Yeah, we count our steps in our head. So out loud, we're usually going and 7, and 6, and 5. And that's just how many steps we have left. We start lowering them around at 3 and usually plant the pole right before our last step. And another thing about the pole is you're wanting to make sure it's faced upwards, because there's a natural bend in the pole. And so it will go down like that. So you're wanting to make sure that side is down like that, so then the pole goes up. Make it so much easier to bend.
Okay. Use a little more spring off that, I guess.
Yeah.
Right? All right, so as we're approaching here, obviously the goal there is to get the end of that pole into the right spot into the pit here.
Yeah.
So we'll walk up here and show you that, because if you miss that spot, you're probably not going to get a very good bounce up there.
Yeah, it's not really too fun to miss it, but Jan Johnson made this. Some people say it helps, some people say it makes it much harder, but American high school has to have it. We have these marks on the ground to show where you jump from. So ours are a bit faded, but this helps the coach figure out where you're jumping from. Because if I'm taking off at 11, I need to be around 13 on my takeoff, because that's straight up and down. If I'm at 12, my hips are going to go under and I'm not going to fully make it in. And if I'm out, I'm going to fall straight down like that. So we want to be in a nice neutral position like that and just go straight into it. And that's really just to help the coaches. We can't see that while we're jumping, obviously, so that's really just for them. Okay. And as you can see, we have it from 8 to 13, 14 feet.
Okay. Something I've always wondered about is, obviously we talk about the height, and the height will go up as the meet goes along, and you have three chances to clear each height. You clear at least once, you go up to the next height. Yep. But I've always wondered about the standards. Can we come around here to the sides and you kind of explain to me what the standards are all about? Because not only does this move upwards, it moves backwards and forwards as well.
So standards usually in competition will move from 18 inches to 31.5 or 45 centimeters to 80 centimeters. And we pull this forward and back depending on where we are in the vault. So if you're not making it in fully, if your pole is only barely getting you in, you might want to either move to a lighter pole or you might want to bring your standards forward. And so this is really just the biggest part for athletes because it's centimeters that can really determine whether you make a jump or not. Like Jordan in New York missed a bar because he had his standards 2 centimeters back. So you really want to make sure you can dial this in. And so if you're getting too far in, then you're wanting to push them back, everything like that. So this is really just putting the bar where it should be.
Yeah, because you'll come up and your turn will come up and you'll say the height, and then you tell them what the standards you want, and they come over here and move this.
Yeah,
the workers over here do.
Yeah. So they try and do everything to make the jump as easy as possible for you. So the bar height won't move. However, they can move the standards or where the bar placement is, so then you have an easier chance at clearing it.
And literally every competitor could have a different standard if they
yeah. Rules say you have to stay in between 45 and 80 centimeters or 18 inches to 31 and a half. That's just because once you get too far in, you might land in the box. So
yeah.
It's all just dependent on how you are as a jumper. I know people that jump only at 45, and I know people that jump at mostly 80. So it all depends on the jumper.
Yeah. Okay, so obviously once you come down this thing and you get your pole planted, hopefully in the pit, the thing there is the challenge is to try to spring yourself up over that thing, and of course avoid hitting the pole. If you knock the pole off, then it's a fault. So, so kind of walk us through that process of just how you create that springing motion to get you up over the pole.
So by the time we leave the ground and are over the bar, there's about 30 different things we're doing. Whether you can see them or not, it looks like one smooth motion because that's our job to make it as easy as possible. But there's 30 different technical things in there. I'm not going to get into all of them. Mostly the important parts are the takeoff, which is just the jumping part. You have the swing, which is where you have your leg moving through here. That's creating most of your energy to get you upside down. Then you have the invert and the turn, which usually combine together. That's where you start to move, where you're getting your hips over the bar, so it can lower your center of gravity. And that's also where you're going up more. And then we have the pike, which is the most crucial part probably, because that's the part where you're over the bar. And then the falling part. That's probably the easiest.
Once you could do that part.
Yeah. Once you get up over that bar though, you've got to throw that pole back so it doesn't hit the bar as you go over.
Yeah. Well, that's how it is for a lot of beginners. I've gotten to the point where my pole won't hit the bar, but we have to throw the pole to give us more energy to go up. So we use that pole bend and the elasticity of it and our strength to throw ourselves off the pole.
Well, you've actually got to the point where the bar is higher than the pole.
Yeah, that's...
It's not going to hit the pole.
Yeah, it makes it so much easier. You don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, I noticed that at the state meet last year. You're sitting out there and the pole is, the bar is way up above the pole, so...
Yeah, because that messes up a lot of jumpers, so once you get to that point, it makes it so much easier.
Just 16 and a half feet in the air, though. So, you went 7 at state last year?
I went at the state meet. I think I went 16.1. Okay. But the highest I jumped last year was 16.7.
That was an event here.
Yeah, 5 meters 05. So, yeah, 16.7 here, but it didn't count unless it was at the state meet, which I got 16.1.
Yeah, it's a weird cage to say you rule it for it to be a state record. It has to be done at the state championships, but you did it anyway. And
yeah.
That's what you came. That's funny. We talked to you afterwards, and you came into that with 2 goals. You wanted not only to win the state championship, but to break the record as well.
Yeah, that was my main thing because I had been training with Chip Heiser for a little bit, and he was the former record holder. So that just made it much better to want to just beat the record. Yeah. You get to know the person, then you want to do better than what they did.
Yeah, and of course you broke the central record a long time ago. Danny Castle's record. You said 8th grade you broke that?
I broke that my 8th grade year whenever I jumped 14 feet 6 inches at Chip Heiser's school. I jumped 14.6, and that beat the state or the school record by 6 inches, which hadn't been broke for since 80 something. So it's been there for a while.
Yeah, I guess you and Danny are the only 2 Madison Central athletes to ever win a state pole vault championship.
Yeah, so far from what I know.
Well, you got some other Jordan Briner. He's a year behind you, and like your dad was just telling me. I mean, if you weren't here, he might be winning the state championship.
Yeah, no, he's jumped higher than Danny Castle has. He's jumped 14.6, but he hasn't jumped in a high school meet. So we'll see what he does.
Who else you got out here with you?
That's Reagan Wright. He's same grade as me.
Junior.
Yeah, junior year. Jumping 13.6, I think. 13.1, 13.6. And that's Drew Masters. He's a freshman. He's a bit of a character. He jumps, 11.6, 12. Hey, Drew, how high do you jump? 12 feet, supposedly. That's my dad. He's our coach right now. Makes it hard on me because he's my dad and the coach. But we got several other athletes. We have 4 more, I think, that aren't here right now. Some are competing, some are doing school projects and stuff like that. Some don't feel good. Yeah. But these are the ones that decided to show up and jump today. So,
well, it's interesting, the little community of pole vaulters too, because even kids that are at other schools, you all kind of hang together. You all kind of know each other either through Monty or through other people, and so there's kind of a little group there.
Yeah. Well, even like at national meets, like I went to New York the other day, and we all acted like friends because that's what we are. Because this sport's not really us competing against each other, but us competing against ourselves and trying to clear the highest bar. So it's more of us against the bar than us against everyone else. So we just want everyone to jump higher, and that's really the main goal of it, is to jump higher and have everyone else jump higher.
Yeah.
It's fun to win, but everyone should do good.
Well, it's fun when you get to the state meet too, and like you did, and they announce over the PA that Wyatt Stewart is going for a state record, and like the whole crowd stops to look at you. Yeah. And I guess that could be fun and also kind of nerve-wracking, I guess.
It doesn't nerve-wrack me at all. I tend to jump better when I have a crowd. I don't know if it's adrenaline or if I'm just really wanting attention or what, but I just tend to jump much better whenever I have a whole crowd. I'll get a clap going, and that will help me get tempo and everything down. I'll jump higher. And I just love crowd interaction. Messes with some people, but I love it.
Okay. All right, well, the track season will open up here in a couple of weeks. I guess you guys, when's your first meet?
Next Wednesday at Tate's Creek. I won't be jumping there, but we have a meet here.
29th, I think?
Yeah, somewhere around then. That'll be my first day jumping, I'm pretty sure, as for my junior year at Central. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, congratulations on all your success. I think there's 4 all-comers meets out here this year, right?
4 or 5, yeah. Something like that.
Yeah, those are always great events, and you have to wait a long time to see him jump, though, because you skip all the thing about pole vault. You can skip you can basically jump in whenever you want at whatever height, but of course there's a risk there. If you miss, then you don't record a score, but you usually sit out here and wait for about 2 hours before you jump in.
Yeah, meet usually starts at 6 or 7. I don't jump until 9 or 10 usually, so. I get to have fun, walk around, talk to people, so it's not too bad.
Yeah. Well, all right. Well, congratulations on all your success. We look forward to seeing what you can do this year, and already got 1 state championship under your belt, and you go for 1, maybe 2 more in the next couple of years.
What we're hoping for.
Right. You keep going higher and higher and higher. I mean, you never know what you're going to do. So, well, congratulations. Thanks for the tutorial here. It's a really fascinating. It's an event that I'm sure a lot of people don't know about. I'm sure you get a lot of your friends and stuff are probably like, hey, how does that work?
Yeah, a little bit. Some people are interested about it. Some people tend not to really care.
Yeah. Well, you got other kids joining you now, so I guess once you have that kind of success, I guess people want to join in and be part of that.
Yeah, it really spreads the word whenever you have the second in the nation jumping at your school. It really gets people interested. But you got a good school here, so a lot of people are interested.
Yeah. You have some female jumpers too, right?
Yeah, we have 2 female jumpers here. I say 3 because I have we have another girl at another school that's just basically our own jumper too. So. Yeah. But yeah, we have 2 jumpers here.
We'll give them a shout out.
Rachel Gross, Elliot Pennell, and Caitlin Kane.
Okay.
Are 3 jumpers. Elliot is from Henry Clay.
Yeah. Caitlin got to the state last year, right?
Yeah, Caitlin jumped state. I don't know what she jumped, 11.6 maybe. But I don't know what she placed either, but she jumped high too.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's fun to watch you. We appreciate you taking the time and giving us a little tutorial here. I learned a lot. Randy, did you learn something out here?
I learn something every day from you, Nate.
Well, he knew Danny Castle back in the day. That's how old Randy is. So. All right. Well, that'll wrap up this week's edition of the Richmond Register Sports Show. Appreciate you guys watching. Appreciate Wyatt and his folks for coming out here and showing us around a little bit. So we'll be back next week with a brand new show, premiering at Sunday nights at 9 o'clock. And as always, the best place to keep up with us is at Richmond R Sports on Twitter or on Register Sports on Facebook. So see you next week.
The Richmond Register Sports Show is brought to you by MetroNet, superfast internet, simply a better connection. Central Kentucky Pressure Washing, Total Comfort, heating and air conditioning. Let Total Comfort keep you cool or warm this winter. Call for service or for a free replacement quote. And by Mel's Barbershop, established 2019. Walk-ins welcome. Visit them 102 St. George Street in Richmond. And by kymedia.net, digital media solutions on your terms. Thanks for watching the Richmond Register Sports Show. For more information about all things sports in Madison County, log on to richmondregister.com or on Twitter. And like us, Register Sports on Facebook. Get the Richmond Register directly to your mailbox or get the app online and visit richmondregister.com.